Coming at you live from DNHQ in beautiful South Pasadena, California. This is the Blue Heaven Podcast, or the Halfway Podcast, where they are halfway home. My name is Clint. You can find me as Real FRG on Twitter and Instagram.
It's a halfway podcast.
Yeah, it's kind of, halfway, half-ass it, whatever it is.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the theme of what we do around here. Guys, my name is Brooke. You can find me at BrookeMe3 on Twitter and Instagram. On today's show, first of all, happy Kobe Day.
Happy Kobe Day. I don't have a goat sound on here.
There's no goat sound, but there will never be another Kobe Bean Bryant as long as we shall live. And we're sad about that, but we are going to celebrate Kobe regardless, because that's what he would have wanted, is for us to be happy and to move on with life. And we love Kobe, and we get to appreciate him a little bit today. But also, we got to talk about our Dodgers. We have a mid-season report card because, as you guys may or may not know, we are now officially already halfway through this season. And even no All-Star game either. Wow.
I know.
Didn't see that coming.
Well, we had the home run derby this week at Dodger Stadium, so that was already
that was good.
That was already pretty nice. Also, we are going to be trashing them unwritten rules, because that was a whole thing we missed last week. Baseball hates fun. Rob Manfred hates fun.
I told you that one.
Hingle McTingleberry hates fun. Speaking of hating fun, Gary's here.
Hi.
Man, look at that. He
I
played.
got invited back. I'm so.
It's just it's a one-time engagement.
Yeah.
Unless
They're gonna test me out and see how the numbers go.
Yeah, unless the fans really, really, really love you. Lost Cody. We're gonna try this. We're gonna do our own version of a bit of a breakdown on Cody having no idea where his walk-off home run went, and other things, and a whole lot more. First, we got to remind you, this is a podcast. We are on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Pandora, Google Play. That's most of them. Others. Find us there, subscribe to us there, like us there, etc. us there. We'd appreciate it if you leave a review. We'll probably eventually read it. We haven't been on there in a while to read any new reviews, but we love reading them, especially if they're funny but remain nice.
It is also a live show. It is not just a podcast. So make sure you guys are dropping into the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. Say hello to Gary. Gary missed you guys. I'm sure you miss Gary, because we get a lot of questions about Gary. And there's already a lot of hi Garys, which is good. That's a good start to the day.
Our boy, promoted producer Eric, is in the stream, and he said, "Oh, Gary's here. I guess I'll pass on watching today." And then he says, "Ha ha ha, JK, hi Gary." And perfect timing to shout out Eric, of course, our friend.
Amazing video.
Eric V. Just knocked it out of the park with that Kobe video that they showed before the game on Sunday at Dodger Stadium, the Kobe tribute video. He pulled out all the stops on that. Went and got Mr. Vincent Edward Scully in the flesh on, I'm assuming, not in the flesh, but however you do it in this weird future we're in. But you killed it. You made a lot of people cry. But, not in the heartbreaker way. We know you want to be a heartbreaker, but that's not really your bag, baby. But thanks for hanging out with us, bud. And, of course, we're here drinking our Jim Beam out of our Jim Beam highball glasses. Go ahead and throw that logo up there. Oh, look at that. It's Jim Beam. Oh, my God. Look at the logo. Foreshadowing. Wait, we didn't even get you a beer. You didn't get booze. You want to just crack open an entire bottle of Jim Beam?
I know. I think I might just get a bottle. I'll get it when you guys do a video thingy.
Well, let's dig into more of the comments before we plug any more stuff and other things. But yeah, Gary's friend Eric's here, so we had to say thank you for making a good thing for our eye holes, Mr. Eric.
Roach over on Periscope says, my girlfriend told me to fold the laundry before she got home. Instead, I'm watching the Blue Heaven Podcast. We cannot be held responsible for any actions taken by your girlfriend once she gets home and finds that the laundry is not folded, Roach. Trademark or something like that.
All right, Gary is the most longest tenured married man here.
Yes.
They say happy wife, happy life. Where does it stand on girlfriend?
It's
happy girlfriend.
Happy girlfriend.
Buy her some
It's the
Del
same
Taco.
thing.
Okay.
Buy her
It's
some
practice.
Do people does anybody eat Del Taco unless they want to sponsor us? Shout out Del Taco.
I ate
fresh.
Del Taco today. It was fantastic. Feeling good.
Our girl Sierra's in the stream. Hi boys, how you doing, Sierra? Good to see you, homie. We got Nick El Guapo, who finally caught the live stream, and Nick is very excited about that.
Congrats. Welcome to the show.
A sale loaner said the Jim Beam is back, and I mean we have so much. I don't know where it would go. I did polish off one over the weekend. I apologize, gents.
You drank an entire bottle of Jim Beam on a weekend?
I mean, it wasn't by myself.
Allegedly.
It was responsible-ish.
I've never heard you do anything responsibly.
Hey.
There you go.
Anyways, Another thing we wanted to note, one of the reasons Gary hasn't been around because he's been working on a lot of different projects and trying to get out of prison. He finally got out of prison, so we're happy you got out of prison.
Well done, Gary.
Guantanamo.
Thanks for picking me up.
But one of the websites of the many he's been working on is, and I don't have anything to throw up on the screen, but Gear Up LA, which is a merch site of ours.
Yeah,
I mean, you want to explain it?
It's just a merch site that instead of giving money away to just some national vendor printer, we decided to support some local businesses here. There's one out of Ontario, Kevin, Empire Custom Printing or something, and he's been hooking us up with great quality t-shirts, everything. We get a little bit more money out there, so then therefore actually people are saving money on some of these shirts because you're not getting charged up the wazoo with shipping.
You tried.
Yeah. So we're trying to put some designs in. We're gonna have design contests, so if you're a designer, be on the lookout. We're going to try to give you a prize as well as hook you up with royalty or commission or payouts on the site so that everybody can enjoy the fun. So just be on the lookout. It's gearup.la.
And I know one of the things that you're happy about, because we've always been pretty limited doing things as Dodgers Nation. We want to keep things Dodgers related, but now you can finally get back into doing some Lakers merch, and that's what you put out the one design with the top 5.
Yeah, that's my greatest squad.
Your greatest squad.
That's my
if
greatest
people
squad.
want to wear your greatest squad,
Yeah.
you should make it where people can pick and choose their own. For me,
A drag and drop thing?
It'll be all Alex Caruso, obviously. There's like
Cruise coat. Yeah.
that's just the way it goes. Brooke will let you know. I did walk into the show today wearing my headband in honor of Mr. AC, the best, the goat of all goats. But yeah, there's a lot of shirts over there. Check it out, gearup.la. And we that's it. We'll do more plugs after that. We got some more comments. I was waiting for you. I guess I threw you off because you were
I can read them. I was just drinking today. Chris says, happy coming out of prison day, Gary. So congratulations for that. Janae says, hey, guys. Hey, Janae.
Hey, Janae.
Alfredo did buy some stickers from Kate.
Oh,
we pushed Kate's stickers last week because she sent us those fine somewhere stickers
I broke everything.
that have our names on them.
Thank God that one was empty.
You almost killed me.
Do you have towels?
No, nothing's spilled.
Nothing's spilled.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we almost just died right now too.
See what happens when you show up, Gary? Everything is so excited and wonky.
Electrocute yourselves.
Yeah. things become things on this show.
Things become things.
Sorry about that, guys.
We're gonna get into actual Dodgers topics and everything kind of soon. Ruben is asking about moving on from Strip and Wood. They need both to pack it up. We'll get there.
We will talk about that.
We have an entire review basically of this first half of the season to yell out and yada yada. Katie's in the stream to say hi before she loses service going over the grapevine on our way out of LA, which is a good idea. Is LA hot? LA suck.
I heard that through the grapevine.
Oh,
Can you see through the grapevine with all that smoke?
I don't know.
Oh.
yeah, shout out to everybody out there that's dealing with that.
Be
If you're
safe.
watching us right now and you're dealing with all that, what's wrong with you?
Sorry about
much more
the
important
fire.
things. One last shout out. I think we're going to have an official giveaway with them next week, but our friends over at Vintage Brands who've sent us a lot of stuff over the last couple of years, these coasters, our famous beer koozies and everything, which is my monster koozie today. They have a giveaway going on for the rest of the month. 30% off using code something or other. I think it's like Deadlock. I gotta look that up, but vintagebrand.com, check them out. There's some cool Dodger stuff if you like some of the older things. Yeah, Deck Out. Promo code is Deck Out. Check them out. They are good people. Now, tell us about what happened this last week. What happened this last week in baseball?
Yeah, I would say that you are very good at transitions, no matter what day we're in. Listen, all right. Well, first and foremost, your Los Angeles Dodgers are very good at baseball, and they proved that against. I don't know what you would call the Rockies. They're supposed to be a good team, but then they weren't, and then they kind of are, but they're not. So we're going to throw that in.
Wasn't the Rockies? They won like 2 games, and their social media account was like, "Tell us there's a better team. Change my mind." Sort of
Yeah,
thing.
they went a little over the top.
Yeah.
Their pitching got good. Chuck Nasty's hitting like 400 something. So I get it. It's understandable. But Dodgers went 6-1. They lost one really bad game against the Mariners. Kind of a throwaway. No one really showed up for that game. Whatever. Cody Bellinger heats up a little bit, something that we're all waiting for. We were all hoping for. We were all not all sure of was ever going to happen, but it is happening. We had a perfect day to honor Kobe Bean Bryant. It was awesome. It was fantastic. The Dodgers did a great job with it.
Game.
Even the Rockies participated in it, which Dave Roberts was like, that was pretty cool that they showed up for it and participated. Matt Kemp flexing in the jersey. I got to see Pedro Baez wearing a sleeveless Lakers jersey, and it was the single greatest thing of my entire being, and now I want that framed. And there was a lot of things. More Kobe love coming, more Kobe love all day long, because of course 8/24 today is the day. So it's been a roller coaster of emotions for me over the past 2 days, I would say. I've had a couple people call and check on me, and I was like, it's good.
Well,
it's good.
It wasn't
like sad. It was a good couple of days of being like talking with friends and talking basketball and the impact of Kobe and what he's done in my life for me, and just being like, it's so cool to see what he's done for so many people. And who knows, if he was still around, if we'd be having that conversation now. Maybe not, but it was a good time to have that conversation and to think about the impact he's had on the sport and on women's sports, and it was just all around good. I really liked how people handled it and the direction people went with it, not playing off of emotions, not playing off of anything like that, being like, this was Kobe, this is who he was.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't be talking about it if he didn't pass away. Let's be honest. I mean, he was living a great life, being a great father. And then today, Clint, you're the one that actually shared that the Allen Iverson article on the Players Show. That was a great article. I read that, took a quote from there at the very end. It's the whole we're sad that you're gone, but dude, we're just smiling and thinking about the memories, and that's all how we want to live our lives, right?
And that's what these last couple of days have been, Sunday and now Monday. It's about remembering how just what Kobe meant to a lot of us, and to the city, to basketball, to, like you had mentioned, just advancing women in sports, and unfortunately that effort was cut short. But if everybody puts forth the right effort and does what they can to continue his legacy, that Mamba legacy, hopefully his legacy does keep carrying on, and I think we can through 8/24, all that kind of things. Every year we have a couple of holidays, back-to-back holidays. We should just make this a national holiday.
I agree. We should have
this
the
weekend.
Day off.
Yeah. Way to make us work, Gary.
Sorry.
That Be Better video, that was pretty sweet. That was pretty cool. That got me. I was ready to run through a brick wall. Kobe's not even here. He's got me ready to run through a brick wall. So that was pretty cool. Everybody did a good job with it. All around a good day. Thankful for Kobe. Thankful for everything that he did. We'll never forget him. But
Dodgers. I'm assuming you're going.
Good job. Yeah. So the boys in blue, 22-8. 22-8 to start a season. We had them pegged. Did I just pick the Vegas odds when I picked the win total? Is that
Probably.
what it was? 38 wins. I was they'll probably get 38 wins. I think you actually went.
I took the under, which I always do.
You went under.
Because I like to be the martyr, or not the martyr, but I like to be the guy who people can be like, hey, you were wrong. And I'm like, okay, Twitter bird.
Gary, I think you had gone like 2 or 3 wins over, right?
I think I was about 41, 42.
Right. So they're on pace for more than that. They're on pace for about 43, 44, give or take a couple dozen, whatever it is.
Last I looked, which I'm looking again right now, it says the best they can do, I believe it was right here, 46-14, according to some sort of weird methodology that apparently Baseball Reference is doing now.
So they could win a buttload of games. They could be way above the Vegas odds.
46-14. Imagine
I think
that,
we had even agreed that like the Vegas odds were probably just being like, I don't know, it's a 60-game year. Anything could happen. 38 wins, whatever. And they were the number 1 team in baseball. Like that was the most wins of anybody predicted to have. So I think a few teams actually might eclipse that, but the Dodgers are certainly looking to be one of them. They have a 99.9% chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah.
They already qualified for the playoffs,
which,
didn't they?
if I remember correctly...
it's more than 99.9%.
If I remember correctly, the Steelers had a 0.01% chance of making the playoffs one year, and they did. So anything can happen, I guess, guys.
Anything is possible.
There's above 20% odds to win the World Series. They are...
by far the highest.
They're good. They are... I mean, who's next? The Trastros? They're the next team up. And I don't know how, because they're
15-13.
Noted baseball expert Jet Reddick also said that they had minor league pitching in their bullpen, so I don't know how they're expected to win a World Series. They're 15-13. They're not very good. They just got beat up on by the Slam Diego Padres, so I don't know what
they lost Yadier. His name.
Alvarez is out for the season. He played half of one game and left the game, and he's out for the season, so he didn't make it through.
And Altuve, Lil Jose is actually trending upwards right now over his last 5 games. He's hitting over 400.
There's nowhere else but up.
It's
From where
true.
he was coming from.
You can't really go any further down.
I mean, he's MVP. Should be playing better, you know?
Worth noting are those Padres because they're both sneaky and very loudly good. Sneaky because, I mean, they play in the West, so they're always going to be the little brother to the Dodgers, but also loudly because MLB only pushes the Padres nowadays because they're a very hot team and they're fun to talk about and they're fun to watch. I mean, as a baseball fan, I look at those guys, I'm like, that's a fun team to watch. So they have improved their chances of making the playoffs by 44.5% over the last week alone. Crazy. And I gotta say, they swept all of Texas.
Yeah, they swept their way through Texas.
They literally swept out Texas and made a great meme about it, and I'm very thankful for that. Not great World Series odds, as you can probably expect for a team that doesn't really have pitching. Pitching is important to winning championships. Defense wins championships, as I've been told by many
old-timey baseball sites. By John Heyman.
All that said, wrapping that all together in one big stupid ball and tightening it up and throwing it at you. What are you liking? What are you seeing? What are your thoughts on the first 30 of 60 for your Dodgers?
Well, I had already written it down, and I saw it in the comments very early on. I forget who said it. It might have been Hatfield. It might have very likely been somebody else, but the comments are right along with me. Just to be at here 22-8 through 30 is incredibly impressive when you look at it on paper. But as we all know, and we're baseball fans, we're Dodger fans, we want more. I've been getting crap because I posted a tweet about, only the Dodgers can load the bases twice in one inning and score only 1 run, which they did. And everybody's like, you're not even a real fan, duh. It's like, okay, well, you go back to your 38 followers there, Chief. But
Eric says he likes my mustache through the first 30 games.
Good job.
I told you guys, it's the mustache. We would not be this good if I didn't have it. You're welcome.
I must ask you a question.
I think I've decided I can't shave it tomorrow after I get a haircut. I think I'm
no. That's your life now.
Yeah. It's
sorry, Mrs. Me 3.
Kate also said that I can't shave it earlier.
Them's the rules. If the internet tells you no, the people who watch your programming tell you no. Well, then you just say
that's true. They might stop watching me if I shave it.
But it again constantly feels like there's more in the tank. Belly just barely started taking off, but for the greater part of the season, he was well under 200. Now, over his last 10 games, 314 to 429, 857 slugging. Homeboy is going off right now. 6 home runs in his last 10 games. So that's sources tell me is good for Bellinger, but there's still, as much as they keep trying to tell us that Max Muncy's coming back, he's not quite there yet. Jock Peterson. He's our first ever person that became a friend of the show and then fell off the face of the earth. Although I guess we can sort of make the case right now for our buddy Ross, who's kind of going through it. Unfortunately, 7.27 ERA for Ross over his last 4 starts, and he's grasping onto that rotation spot by a thread right now. Just because you see Tony Gonsolin, who somehow in 3 starts is already like the 5th best player on the Dodgers by wins above replacement. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. Baseball
he
reference
been on the
version.
roster for very long.
Yeah, like WAR by service time through the roof. But again, this team, that's the biggest thing. They're still not playing up to their capabilities, despite the fantastic bullpen, the rotation getting it done, even though the numbers say otherwise. The lineup not clicking because now Mookie's kind of going through it, even though I, as Dodgers Nation on Twitter, called it last night that Mookie's going to break out of it, and then he hit a home run 2 pitches later, and then he hit another double or single afterwards. So thank you. You're welcome. But what about your takes? I know Gary, while his respite has been watching the games and tweeting along and kind of escaping the real world when he's not playing Fortnite as his brain demelter. What do you think about this team through 30?
It's been really fun these past 17 games in particular. Watching Cody struggle has been painful because that's the thing on Twitter, that you're trying to like keep people's hopes up. Mm-hmm. And for me, it reminded me of 2018, I think, when we were all fighting about Cody Bellinger, saying that he's wishy-washy. And I was like, no, I bet you like a 6-pack that you still owe me that he's going to hit a home run in Pittsburgh. And he did that day. And I just had that same feeling for Cody. And I think he's just going to figure it out. And I said, like, this is the perfect team for him to figure things out. Perfect team for Max to figure things out. And I think the only thing that I hate is that they're not clicking. They weren't clicking when we were promoting our Death Row shirt. That was the biggest annoyance for me. Eric is going to get his death row shirt at the end of this week. We printed out the minimum to get people this shirt, but to watch this team, Mookie has been amazing. Like his leadership qualities is just it's those little things.
He does every little thing. Like just watching him on the base paths has been fun.
Yeah,
his ability to take advantage of a situation, take advantage of any situation to steal a base when it's needed. On Sunday, he sneakily did a Dodgers franchise record with 2 home runs and 2 stolen bases in one game, which is befuddling that's never happened. Mookie is befuddling. That's a word.
That was a word I thought of when I saw it.
Do you think Mookie is the only person who can tell Dave Roberts, like,
yes.
Look?
And Dave didn't. Dave doesn't like it. That's where salty Dave came from. Yeah. That's where it kind of started. I love it.
Because he was like, hey, I'm your leadoff guy. And he was like, yeah, we have a lot of leadoff guys. He's like, no. Like I'm your leadoff guy.
Like the press conferences or the Zoom conferences that came immediately after that. Dave talking about like me. He's like, we making the line. I make the lineup out. Like
I don't think he had a problem with that in particular. I think he had a problem with media being like, hey, like Mookie convinced you of that, right? And they were like. He's like, no, like I made that. We talked. I made that decision. They're like, yeah. So Mookie wanted to hit leadoff. He's like, I made the decision to bat him leadoff. And they're like, yeah. So Mookie, and they're like, he's like, God, well, I mean, can't do anything.
The thing is, like that happens in corporate world, right? Like you give a boss an idea, and he needs to show that,
and it's his idea.
He made the decision because he has to lead everybody else.
Right.
It kind of sucks. I mean, I thought Dave would be better about that, saying like, he has to give him credit to Mookie saying, oh, we need to steal bases or so-and-so.
Well, I mean, it shouldn't be any one person on this team. It's a team effort.
He's made it a very
Mookie would
team
not
effort,
want that. Mookie doesn't even, he wanted nobody talking about the
Barnes thing.
The Barnes
thing. It's funny because Austin was like, I don't think Mookie wants people telling.
Even Kelly.
Telling people.
Because I air quote broke that story when I saw it 2 minutes after Vassay posted the video on AM 570's YouTube.
Kelly,
and I was like, ooh. And I got that, and everybody got that, afterwards because of me. So you're welcome. #sources. My source was the internet, but
Mookie would not block you.
Like those little things, and the fact that Mookie just absolutely hates talking about himself is fun, and it's welcome in this city. It's welcome on this team. It meshes. It fits in perfectly. We said it last week. I don't know if you watched last week. Gary says he doesn't watch us anymore because he hasn't been here. But
I was in prison. Remember, they don't have internet.
They don't have YouTube in prison. Don't they have Twitch?
I tried, but I couldn't find us.
But I don't know. I forgot where I was going with that. But yeah, baseball Dodger team be good.
He liked Dodger.
Yes.
No, it's just Mookie bringing that element.
Yeah, Mookie fits in perfectly with his team. Oh yeah, that's what I was going with. We survived as Dodger fans for this long. Granted, we went out and traded, and I use we very liberally. Couple years ago, went and picked up the best player available at that trade deadline. We got Machado. It didn't quite work out. It got us further than we would have been without him, of course. The year before, we went and got Darvish. Now, after all this time, after swinging and missing on Garrett Cole, not giving any money or an offer to Hollywood Lifestyle, who's just leading them Angels straight to the bottom, we waited. And Dodger fans were rewarded with the best player in baseball because his teams can get to the playoffs. What, allegedly. Mike Trout? What? At me, bro. I'm sorry, Mr. Trout.
They're doing fantastic. They've
sorry, Mr. Michael.
The point is to lose double-digit games. Is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Angels are doing great then. Yeah, they're doing a great job. Real Hollywood lifestyle over there.
They're
called all those home runs for their fans.
Clutch. You didn't ask me how I like the Dodgers. You freaking jerk.
Are you still here?
It's a big drinking show over here. Okay, so I have liked one thing about the Dodgers this year. I have liked Brusdar Graterol, and no one can change my mind, and no one can say any differently about me. I think he's the greatest player of all time. I think he will go down in the history books as the greatest closer of all time. And he is also the kindest soul and the best person, and I love him, and I'm trying to be best friends with him, but I don't know how to yet. I think I have to learn Spanish better. More Graterol-y.
We can hear you clicking again.
And then I can be mucho good, and then we can be friends, and then we can hang out.
Well, are you working on the Brusdar?
Yeah, I'm trying to do the dance, but like my back hurts a little bit, so I can't do it great. He's young, he can still do it, but I'm all kind of older, and the back is not
he's amongst them unexpected standouts. Dylan Floro, like who is this guy?
Yeah, Dylan Floro and Brusdar Graterol and Jake. Jake McGee, who throws a one pitch 97% of the time and still gets people out. What is he, Mariano Rivera? What is happening here? He's throwing a fastball every single time he goes out. Once an outing, he might mix in a slider, might mix in some sort of breaking ball, maybe.
It's hilarious how much Joe and Oro just predicted.
They're like, oh yeah,
up next, and it's a fastball.
And it's, you know what's funny too? It's not a different velocity fastball. It is a 96 mile an hour fastball every time, and there's nothing special about it other than the fact that maybe the Dodgers worked with him on some of, hiding the ball, throwing it, some of the spin rate on it, whatever it might be. It's so effective. Yeah. And I cannot, for the life of me, figured out how they turned around this man's career on a dime. On a dime. Like, literally, he had one bad outing when he drove to Dodger Stadium, and
for 17 hours or whatever.
Since then, has not made like one mistake. Like,
and you would
not one.
And you wouldn't find one tweet from either of us about that exhibition outing about like, where's this guy making the damn roster? That's how we tweet.
No, it was like oh shoot, turns out he had to drive all the way to Dodger Stadium. That sucks. I can imagine why he gave up a home run to 95-year-old Albert Pujols. I get it.
Well, in the immortal words of Trevor Bauer, cry.
Oh.
No, cry. Just cry.
Cry.
It's the best. Cry. It's the greatest response.
It is a good response to things.
Just cry. Other than that, AK-56, Adam Kolarek is getting right-handers out. Hasn't allowed a run this season.
0.63 average to the left-handers, 167 batting average to right-handers, which if you're not familiar with Adam Kolarek, he's usually up around the 300 mark for right-handed batters. He's always been good against left-handers. Always will be. Hard for him to not be with that 3-batter rule. I mean, we will both openly admit that we were pretty certain that Adam Kolarek was not going to be a part of the Dodgers roster this year. It just didn't make sense on paper for us. We were like, why is he going to face righties? It doesn't make sense. With that being said, my goodness, has that guy come out and proven us wrong?
Yeah, let's step back a little bit here because people in the comments, whenever you mention Brother Gatorade, Mr. Bruised Graterol,
we got to talk about
the comments light up. So Eric points out, because he always looks, I think he knows how to get selfless plugs for his own product.
He's good
from
at
me.
it.
He's very good. So, good job, Eric V. He said Graterol is a What's in the Box legend. If you guys haven't seen the Dodgers channel, YouTube channel is still putting out the What's in the Box videos, the fantastic videos you would usually see during all the boring stuff in between innings when you're not going to go pee or go get another 5 beers, even though they only limit you to 2. Cowards. Yeah, the video is great. He picked right up for Kenta-san. He picked right up for Rue was kind of the same way too. Like the people who they touch and like.
Bruiser was really I
haven't seen it yet.
If only you had checked out DodgersNation.com.
He's such a pure human being.
He is very pure.
What a kid.
Shout out to Brother Gatorade. We got that guy. The Red Sox didn't want him.
I think Chris Taylor might be my second favorite What's in the Box guy. Just like what is it?
I love Cody because Cody is usually what's out of the box kind of guy because he's just like, what is it? It's like Cody, the whole idea.
He's looking at it and he's like, what is this?
Shout out Cody. Cody Bellinger.
Jim Beam Nation. Our next podcast.
Juiced Lee asks a serious question. You can see we're not in that mood, Juiced Lee, but we're going to answer it anyway. Do you think Bruised can build up experience to be the next closer? I'll let you handle that, Bruised Goat.
Here's the thing. If you guys remember way back when, I mean, this is a long time ago. I'm talking 6 months ago. When the world used to be normal. Time? When we thought we were going to get to go to baseball games, that kind of thing. Happiness. You remember. I had predicted that Kenley would lose his closing job by July. I don't know how to quantify that. I don't know what the translation. I don't know what the exchange rate for that is in the 60-game season.
40%. You're wrong. Though.
I do not think that he is going to lose his closing job anymore. No, I think Kenley looks great. I think he's throwing fantastic. So far, so good. All signs point to yes, whatever it might be. With that being said, he is going to be expensive for what he does long term. I don't know how long he'll be with the Dodgers. I don't know how long beyond his current contract he'll be with the Dodgers. Bruce Graterol is going to be good. And, his stuff, I think Blake Trine is the one who talked about it. He's like, hey, you got to remember, he is a child. He is a literal child, and his stuff is still very far from peak potential. He's like, you look at this dude, and he comes out and rolls out of bed and, like, with ease is throwing 100, 101 miles an hour. And he's like, it looks like he's not throwing anything. And
but
then
it also looks painful at the same time.
Whoa, 101 miles an hour. Where is that coming from? So
Another one
very
of the
much has
things
that
I love
potential.
about Brother Gatorade is every time you ask anybody in the Dodgers organization about him, they just light up.
They light up. They're like, oh, Brewstar. Like, they just want to talk about him. Because number one, obviously the talent. But number two, he seems like a very likable guy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, Trinan went off.
He's celebrating for his teammates. He's super stoked for the guys out there. I just can't stop picturing on a daily basis him and Pedro Baez just sitting together talking about baseball, because number one, Pedro Baez doesn't talk to anybody.
No.
Number two, he now has a guy who speaks his native tongue and is out in the bullpen with him every single day, because they're previously in the past, I mean, how many Spanish speakers have been out in the bullpen? Not very many.
Yeah.
And so for him to be out there, like, I got a dude I can hang out with all the time. Like, it makes me happy thinking about the fact that Pedro might have a friend now, honestly.
I don't know. Like
thing.
Pedro's just there. Shut up, kid.
He's just like, yeah.
Don't get up. Don't pump your fist.
Yeah.
Shut up, man.
Going back, when you started that little rant there, you had said the way before Machine, and you were talking about a whole 6 months ago. I just started, and I can't let this go because it's in my head, but I can't stop thinking about old Conan O'Brien and La Bamba and the year 2000. And they were doing that like in 1999 or in 2001, like all the way back to the year 2000.
Eric says coming soon, Brooks. So I think that means we're getting a Pedro Baez Brewstar Power Hour. I don't know what that means. But
can it be between two bullpens? Like, hey, we used to have AJ Ellis do it with Kershaw. I'm not going to change that phrasing.
Yeah.
Boom.
Eric, can you just make trailers instead of just hyping it up here? Just make trailers.
Send us
trailers,
and we'll shoot the trailer out to the world. We got you. Okay, with that in mind, we're this far into a season. There hasn't been a Gavin Lux sighting. He obviously hit a home run. He hit a home run today at the weird streamed alternate. It's a weird thing. I don't know. I'm not
the game that Eric's too lazy to be at. I get it.
But he hit a home run today. Is it strange to you that this far into the year, they've been able to somehow justify giving Kike Hernandez at bats and not having Gavin Lux in the lineup, or even on the roster, or even with the team?
Let me do that politician thing. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that. I couldn't hear the question.
Oh yeah. Where you got to think about it for a second.
Buy yourself time. It's really weird. You would not have thought heading into this season, even the short season, that Gavin Lux would not have touched a major league baseball field during the season. Air quote, halfway through the season. Very peculiar. Considering it was, even a few days before when he arrived at camp, and he was angry that somebody would ask why he wasn't at camp on time, which you should have known that was going to be the question, bruv. And he's talking about how, I'd love to be that starting guy. I kind of expect to go out and win that Rookie of the Year. Well, it might be Dustin May if the Dodgers are smart enough to keep D May in the rotation, but it's really peculiar to not see Gabbo.
Somebody said he actually has 2 home runs today, so he actually went deep twice.
We stopped watching.
Obviously we are a little busy. We're doing this thing down here. So no, we're good.
Yeah, from a franchise level viewpoint on the way you're treating Gavin Lux, I think it's a really nice gesture from the Dodgers to give Kike the opportunity to perform this year, knowing that it's gonna be his last year here. He can earn his contract. He can play well. You don't know. Maybe he's going to be trade deadline. Because we do have backup Chris Taylor.
He could,
and then Gavin Lux can come in and just back him up right there. Yeah. So I think it's really nice of the Dodgers to showcase him, to help him make some extra money. If he gets traded this deadline, though, a lot of heartbreaks amongst the fans, though.
Yeah, people have still not accepted the fact that this is his last year in a Dodger uniform, and that's okay. I understand. There's different stages of grief, and we'll get to them. But the trade deadline. Speaking of which, because we're on that subject, the trade deadline is a freaking week away. I mean, we're already there. The trade deadline is here. Dodgers are the best team of baseball. They have the best players to match up with anybody. Dave Roberts has already said several times, I really like the product that we have out there right now. I mean, obviously, those guys are always talking about Friedman. It's like they're always going to be looking to kick the tires on people and possible upgrades. But I like what we have.
They have the best players. The Dodgers have the best players if we're playing a 28-man roster, that we have best players 35 deep. But the problem is, will they use them? And that's been the problem for the last few years. Shout out to NLDS Kershaw last year. He was not the right guy for that situation.
Or like Rich Hill World Series 2018.
Well, he was the right guy, but pulling away from him and going to somebody else. And that tends to be, continues to be a problem, even right now. Again, Tony Gonsolin is one of the most valuable pitchers in baseball. He's the most valuable pitcher in baseball. Wins by wins by service time this year. He's just knocking it out of the park. I understand the fans or the player service. You have people like Urias who have earned their start by putting in the work over the his career, whether it be injured or coming back or relieving, starting his weird hybrid role last year. Stripling has had his starting opportunity. He's definitely not earning it right now. He's earned a longer leash than just to give up on him now. But if in the shorter season, like if it was closer, if it was a tighter race, maybe we wouldn't be seeing Strip in there. He probably has one more bad start in him, or one more bad start before things start moving and either Wood gets back. And Wood's another guy. He doesn't deserve a spot. He does not make your team better. Sure, he started one game. Give him, maybe he deserves more leash, but maybe in a normal season. I don't know if the Dodgers are willing to do what it takes. Whatever. We have enough of a lead. You have more regular season. You have 30 more games left in this regular season. You can kind of stretch it out. You can play around with it a little bit, wiggle it around, blow on it, whatever you need to do. But when it comes to playoff time, put your best roster out there, because we can't we can't play around. It's not time for games anymore, bro.
Let's say right now I put you in charge of the Dodgers. Like this moment, you are in charge.
You're
of them.
DFA'd.
I am DFA'd. I've been DFA'd.
I'm not letting Dodgers Nation cover me anymore. Have you seen what those guys do?
What are the first moves that you make? In order of most important to least important for you. What are the first moves that you're making?
Putting me on the spot.
I'm definitely putting you on the spot. You can ask me to repeat the question again.
Tony needs to be in that rotation. He's deserved it. He can earn it. At the very least, he needs to be at the minor or the major league level. Dennis Santana,
he's eating up innings.
He's eating up innings, but you know who else could eat up innings is Ross, and Ross can get stretched out or straightened out because he's a little bit off. Or Wood would be great, even though Wood came over. It's like, yeah, I'm a starter, right, David?
David's like, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
But that's the first thing. That's the main thing I would do. I think, honestly, that's really the main thing I would do, is just make sure that Gonsolin's up and contributing to the major league team, because dude's disgusting. Like, he's doing what Brusdar is doing, what we assumed that Gonsolin would be able to do in the bullpen. Now imagine adding another guy like that. Math.
Yeah, I had to follow it. Yeah.
You're not addressing any of the left-handed pitching. I mean, not the left-handed pitching, but
hitting.
Hitting against left-handed pitchers.
I would say trade Jock, but I don't know where to send him. He's hitting like a $140, $160. He's not getting it done.
Oh, really?
Do you think his value? Do you think his value is being judged by what's going on this year? And do you think his potential is being based on what he's going to help out for this year or for next year?
Oh, sorry. After I win the World Series, that from this title, from this position that Brooke just gave me, I'm retiring.
Yeah. He's done.
Yeah. So I don't care about 2021. I want my World Series and peace. I'm out.
The issue is that for me, I said this very early on in the season, it's not the results are killing me with Jock. It's the low effort Jock that's really driving me nuts, because you look at him and you just see the defeat in certain instances, when he's rolling over a ball and grounding it to second base or grounding it into the shift or whatever, and kind of just puts his head down and jogs to first base and doesn't work for anything.
The hustle has been bugging
maybe
me.
A really high pop up on a sunny day that kind of just walks it to first base, and even if they had dropped it, would not have made it to first base because they would have gotten him there. That's the thing that's really killing me. Or the other day, I don't remember who was pitching. I think it was Julio, but a bloop single into short left that scored a run. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Jock should have been there, but he let Corey go for it because he didn't want to run in and did not run in, and that kills me.
Yeah,
that really drives me nuts. And in a contract year, you're playing for a lot. You're playing for attention. You're playing for a new contract. You're probably not getting that new contract from the Dodgers, and he probably knows that to some extent. But I mean, it's it's not the results. The results are not what's killing me. I can live with those. I can live with Cody, trying to find it, working through it. I can live with Max trying to find it, working through it. I can live with CT going through stretches of slumps. I can live with that.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's no effort associated with it, that's where I'm like, all right, man, you're gonna ride the pine for 9 in this game. Like, there's no way you get into this game. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
so
don't even cleat up.
Yeah, there's been a few
We're
times
good
where
without
I've asked Dave, like, hey, why did you bat Jock? Every single time that he's batted Jock against a left-handed pitcher, I've asked him why, because it's been like, hey, you had Jock and Matt, and then you pinch hit for Matt. Why did you pinch hit for Matt? And it's always been like a defensive alignment type of thing that he said, like, oh, Kike plays better at second base than right field. And I'm like, yeah, but you put Kike in right field the day after. So, like, what's the deal here? Like, what's happening here?
By the way, it's not Matt, it's Mad Baby.
Mad Baby. Yeah.
Mad Baby.
Baby.
That's what the closed captioning called him. Jessica Beatty confirmed Mad Baby is his name now on PGA Tour Golf, the game.
That's a good
game. It's a good game.
Unfortunately, it's bad for him that his wife now knows that he's called Mad Baby, because that's not going to play in very well to arguments. I don't think. Because...
Yeah, I thought that was Carlos Correa's name. Oh, got him.
Did you hear that?
Sorry, I don't know how to work the mic. Big Steve on YouTube says send Jock to Colorado for Matt Kemp. That's a good trade.
I mean, that's another conversation that you can legitimately have, is that our Kike, let's just go Kike and Jock. I mean, even
like you've already slipped your way to Kike. Respect.
Even Pedro, even a little bit of Petey, like guys in their contract years that might be looking at not playing here next season. I mean, Pedro Baez, of the three, I would think is the guy most likely to get an offer from the Dodgers, which is really saying something, I think. Yeah. But you look at those guys, and obviously it's a very strange trade deadline, and the Dodgers might have the advantage in the sense of that nobody else is really looking to trade right now. There's maybe 2 or 3 teams that are already way out of it. The Angels might trade Dylan Bundy.
Yeah, there are a few sellers.
The Red Sox are going to sell their entire team.
Yeah, the buyers don't even know where to go. Yeah.
So that's the issue. It's like the Dodgers are in a strange position where, number one, they don't have to buy, but number two, they very well could sell and still be just as good, if not better. So you might look at moving to Jock Peterson, but his trade value is not great. I think Kike it offers a lot more to a team, like you said. Even a playoff contending team that is like a fringe playoff contender team with the 16-team playoff format, I think that he could offer a lot to a team like that. I think he could offer a lot to a team like the Angels.
If you find a way to move Jock, you can keep Kike, because Kike and Taylor find a way to get it done. Kike, of course, is leading the league in defensive wins above replacement, which is, like I said in an article today on our DodgersNation.com. Check it out. We're on the internet. It's an imperfect stat to say defensive wins above replacement, but if you're leading the league in it, you could boast all about that, baby. That's the way it goes.
You can run with that.
To have him and Taylor like being able to move people around, you want a true backup, maybe even 2 true backups at shortstop, because we know how Seager goes. Seager's maybe a week or 2 away from something where he needs to sit for 3 or 4 or 5 games, and they'll be like, hey, you're going to put him on the IL, and Doc's going to be like, no, we're probably not going to do that, and probably should have done that. Into the comments.
That's a good question. Yeah, good call.
JL Ruiz 76 is low effort Jock. Well put. Not a fan. We got a few people.
He also said Lux in a package for Bauer. I need to know your opinions on that. If we start talking about Bauer, Trevor Bauer is a big point of contention that people want him on the team for some reason. Number one, I don't really understand that.
You say Lux for Bauer?
Yeah, and that's been a conversation forever that Lux is going to go for a starting pitcher. I don't know where we need a starting pitcher. I mean, we have 34 of them or something like that, so I personally don't see it. Also, the fact that he's never really done well in playoff situations. So, I mean, if you want another Clayton Kershaw in your rotation, then yeah, absolutely, by all means, trade Gavin Lux.
He's not as far advanced as he is now in his career, that being Bauer. Right now, he is... If you're watching any of his vlogs, he's a very lonely boy because he cares only about this baseball season. He's doing everything he can to keep getting better, keep staying at his topmost or the popmost in his health. It's interesting to watch. Check it out on Momentum. And for the people who absolutely hate Trevor Bauer, I think it would do everybody a service to reinvestigate and relearn the situation, or fully learn the situation, not just from what people have said on Twitter. That's my opinion. I don't want to get into this very much, but there are different angles. Don't just read one article or this article. Don't go to Deadspin because they're going to give you the worst effing take. do research before you cancel somebody.
I have a.
Thank you for coming to my Trev Talk.
A Jock Peterson for Alex Verdugo straight up trade.
Yes! I am on that.
This is how I win.
I love Verdugo. It's like, if I just pretend I'm happy, it'll take away the pain.
Playing in Boston. My goodness.
Poor Doogie.
Already playing for a bad franchise, but a bad franchise without fans, nonetheless.
Our friend Norma says, if Jock isn't here, I'll be good. I'll shed one tear. That's what she says.
I will say that for 5 years
Respect to
now.
Norma.
For 5 years now, I've been trying to trade Jock, and it hasn't happened yet. But the good news is I still have his jersey somewhere tucked away in my closet, so money well spent.
Yeah. And people need to understand, once again, when we talk about these people, we're analyzing it from a baseball standpoint and what's best. We don't hate them. We
I
think
very
they're good
much like
people.
Jock. We got to do an interview with him for the first time. We've never talked to him before.
Had somebody
and it
tell
was
me
a really fun conversation.
Had somebody tell me recently on the phone in a conversation with Human American Words that it was the best Jock Peterson interview that they've ever heard. And I don't know if that's good on us or it's just...
I don't know, but it was very fun to do. He was really into it. He
good,
really
good guy.
wanted to talk about baseball, really wanted to talk about working out, which, we don't do.
Important question here from Eric. He asked, Clint, would you promote me if you were the boss? No, you spent too much time on the internet. Way too much time on the internet, bruv.
That's a good point. I'm not allowed to go on the internet.
Fired.
He's going after Sue's job.
Yeah.
Who?
Sue.
I love Sue. She's a nice kid, friend of the show. Been a while.
Leslie said trade Jock for anyone. Literally anyone. Okay.
All right, that's about it. We get the idea. But yeah, the biggest concern is starting rotation. Trevor Bauer would fit in, but like you said, maybe that's not enough of the guy to take you over that hump in the postseason, because that's where the struggles are. You got to really think about who your number 3 guy is, and I don't know if anybody on this team is a number 3 guy. Julio can maybe do it. I would love to see D-May get a chance.
Gary's anti-Julio.
I'm not anti-Julio. I loved Julio, but then this year he started off against the Giants like crap.
He's not.
And then afterwards he started
very
against the Giants. He played the Giants again, and he sucked. And then he just hasn't lived up to all this hype that I've seen since 2017. I've been waiting, and then Dustin May comes in and just shuts the door and says, "Oh my God, the number 3 spot's open. I'll take it." And then there's Gonsolin. And then the 5th person, like, whatever, like, we can figure out that one.
Julio is one of those dudes that's been so, number 1, talked about, but 2, protected, that he hasn't gotten to really go full steam ahead in his entire career. So when the Dodgers finally let him go full steam ahead, you're like, oh boy, okay, here we go. We're taking the reins off. Here we go. Let's get it started. And then he, doesn't do that great. Pandemic, et cetera, et cetera. And you're like, oh man, I was really hoping for a lot more. He's not the 19-year-old kid anymore. I mean, he's the 24-year-old guy now. He's just your basic big leaguer now. And you're like, okay, well, when does it start? Like, when does it take off? And you're waiting for that. And it hasn't happened yet. So I get it. He is the victim of that in that sense, but he's also a victim of like a 1.25 whip or something like that. So he's walking a lot of dudes. He's letting a lot of dudes on base. I think Dave Roberts every single time talks about Julio says like he's got to attack the strike zone. Like he has the stuff. Got to attack, and
he's definitely been nibbling a lot. Same with my assessment. Not that we're caring about assessment of pitchers or
you're the coach. Remember
hashtag coach. It looks to me like maybe that for Ross Stripling, that changeup has thrown off the command of his other pitches, or maybe it's made his other pitches. Maybe it's not tunneling well enough. It's a good changeup. Maybe he's a little too comfortable with it or something, but it's throwing off the other pitches. And
I'm a bad pitcher, so I don't know.
Yeah. He's not hitting batters like you would.
Yeah.
But he's leaving the fastball high, very inconsistent on whether or not his fastball is going to peak at 90 or 95, because we've seen 95 in the tank this year. The curveball staying high. He's not hitting his spots, which is very not Tommy Strip. So I would like to maybe see him abandon that changeup a little bit more and, pound the zone with what got you to an all-star game roster. Couple more comments here. Roach says trade Jock for Jet Reddick. Oof. Does it come with any minor leaguers? Thank you. Gary Dillon asks, and I respect this question. He says, guys, big question, actually very big. I want a friend of the show t-shirt, but I need a 3XL. Not on your site. Is it possible? Yes, it is. It is actually on the site, but it's kind of buried. It's a little weird. Teespring's kind of a dick like that. Email us, podcast@DodgersNation.com. I'll guide you through it, bud. Appreciate you. Roach asks, who's worse, Mad Dog Russo or John Heyman? Oof. Russo is absolute garbage.
At
That
least
guy
Heyman
is
pays attention.
trash. Oh no! If I do my Russo impression, I'm missing a blowout speakers.
No, don't do that. Yeah,
And
several people have asked why he has a show.
And if I'm doing a Russo impression, I don't know how to do that many like inaccurate and just piss poor takes in a row.
I don't know. I couldn't. I think be wrong.
Who even knows about this Michael Jordan guy? I never seen him do nothing.
I don't think I could be that wrong.
And then that guy that looks sideways, who talks to him on the camera sideways every episode.
Yeah, the wrong direction. Yeah,
the
it's
wrong.
really quality production around there.
Garbage, Mad Dog, Chris Mad Dog Russo. Garbage human. I wish him I wish him a long and unfulfilled life. Now, Big Steve said, "Dude is the Skip Bayless of baseball."
That's fair. Yeah, it's a reasonable assessment, honestly.
I love that Skip Bayless is such a dickhole that he has like 3 million followers, but he follows 0. Like that's just a
real dick move.
That's a dick move.
Who, Bayless?
Yeah.
Bayless.
Oh, he probably got he has to get re-verified by Twitter, because you know how Twitter does that.
Yeah, you know when
He's
people,
one of those guys who's like, I'm only going to follow my mom.
So he's
That's
just teetering, hanging onto a social media account. Like, you know, I've seen some people get banned from Instagram. Anyways, moving right along.
I've never heard of anybody getting banned from Instagram. I don't know.
Yeah,
It was for one specific
I'm there with you. So this week,
guys, welcome to a new segment where we're going to be angry for once. I'm going to put it up. This is the Jim Beam Hot Shot of the Week. Look at that. This makes no sense to the podcast side. Podcast side, there's a little Jim Beam graphic because they sent us a lot of booze. They sent us a lot of stuff.
we drank it.
Wait, Gary, hold the mirror up. That's kind of a pain, isn't it? Don't break it. I can see me. Oh my, that's a nice mirror.
Look, you can see us in the mirrr.
That's what everything looks like slightly.
we have nowhere to put this thing.
Right there.
We're figuring it out. We're figuring it out. Like we have this nice Jim Beam neon-ish sign behind us. We're gonna put it up on the side. There's a lot of things.
We didn't turn on our special light today.
I was gonna move backwards, but you know. It seems like
things become
weird things. The hot shot of the week, baseball's unwritten rules. This is already a long show, but we're having fun. Gary's back, halfway mark of the season.
Lakers don't start till 6, so we're good.
Don't start till 6, so we're good. A 3-0 Grand Slam sparked once again the let the kids play debate. One of the more stupid debates in all of baseball. You want to have people like your brand, make it fun.
Sport?
Make your players like the fact that, you know, you got Boris trying to get Manfred to shut down Trevor Bauer's blog. Like it's cool. It's different. It's like so many fans, Dodger fans would kill to have a player give you the backstage access. Like that, yeah, I mean,
so what happened? What happened this week? Let's go through it with everybody. For people who are not aware of what happened this week, that we are obviously upset about.
So, one of the best players in baseball, Fernando Tatis Jr.
Oh.
Never heard of you.
Sorry.
He doesn't have the same mustache that Brooke has, but
he's working on it.
He, as we mentioned before, as San Diego was in the midst, actually starting off their assault on the state of Texas, he had the audacity to hit a Grand Slam home run, which is a home run with all of the runners on base, which is the most amount of points you can get in one particular swing. But he did it as the team had a 3-run lead over in the 8th inning over his opponent, and his opponent, well, I should say his manager,
7-run lead, right?
Yeah, 7 runs.
It was a hefty lead.
But yeah, I got caught on the 3-0 part. 7-run lead, 8th inning. The unwritten rules say you don't swing 3-0 after X. I think it's 6th inning.
When you're up big enough. Yeah.
It's kind of weird, and they're unwritten rules. And actually, Bauer brought this up in one of his vlogs or the Trevor Bauer show or something like that. He was talking about how if these are going to be such big problems, then write them down, make them a thing, make them rules if you don't want people doing this. Because if a player doesn't know whether or not he's supposed to swing 3-0 after this inning or this inning or this inning, everybody's the other team's going to try to keep winning. They're going to try to come back and beat you. We've seen it happen before. We just passed what do they call those things? One of those this day in histories for the Dodgers. The opponent, I can't remember all of the logistics of it. They came back and like 10 runs in the 9th inning to win.
It happens. It's been known to happen. It's happened a couple times this year where teams, the A's of all people, have been coming back from like 7-8 run deficits and winning games. So
you never quit, especially in this climate. The launch angle revolution.
This climate,
it's hot. Ball flies. You're seeing. That's another thing with Stripling. Like he's a victim of pitching at Dodger Stadium on the worst effing days.
How did you manage to translate this whole situation into Ross Stripling giving up home runs? How dare you disrespect
it's
Ross?
Sad to see
The
Ross
unwritten rules
kinda
thing. For me, I'm just wondering, where does it come from? Because I was thinking about it. Yeah, it is old school, but where does it come from in terms of the old school people don't want to be at the stadium anymore? So stop like hitting the ball so we can get the out, so we can get the game over. Or don't rub it in.
Go ahead.
It's just about like their sign of respect. It's their version of what's respectful and what's not. So this is decided by a bunch of old white dudes a long time ago that just decided like, hey, this is how it is and this is how it's going to be, and we want to make sure it's always like this. So for those of you who don't know, we're gonna run through the basic unwritten rules of baseball. There's a lot of them. Bunting to break up a no-no. That's a big one that's talked about a lot.
I feel that's reasonable.
That's okay. I don't have a huge deal with that. On the flip side of that, I also don't have a problem with if a person tries to bunt for a hit. I also don't. If you want to be pissed off as a pitcher, I understand that. If you want to be smart as a hitter, I understand that. I get it. You're being no hit. Get a freaking hit.
It also, to me, in that situation, and this is where you get more into deeper into the gray area of it, is like if it's a 1-0, 2-0 game, yeah, you're in that game.
It depends on where you're at. It entirely depends on where you're at.
You're down 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-0.
Another one, swinging at a first pitch after back-to-back home runs. Again, I don't think this is a real one. Like, this doesn't make any sense to me. If you're somehow up 20, you know what's funny too is the fact that the Rangers beat the Orioles one time like 20-1 or 20-3 or whatever that score was a long time ago. So that's interesting. Stealing bases while your team's up big. I mean, I get that to a certain extent. I actually, my argument would more be like, hey, don't do that as a team because you don't want your players to get hurt stealing bases when you're up by so much. That would be my argument. Not even so much for the other team. Like, hey, if you're going to be irresponsible enough to let that guy take a base, that's on you.
Yeah.
Pimping a home run. And this one is, I put an asterisk next to this one, not because they Alex Cora plays for them or anything like that, but more so because this is something that's changed a lot over, I would say, over the past 2-3 years. Like, not even so much more than, I think like the Tim Anderson era of home runs has really changed up the pimping a home run thing. Madison Bumgarner would like to have a conversation, but it's changed a lot. You know, you get to watch your home runs a little bit more. You get to admire it a little bit more. If you watch guys admire their home runs, like let's say Jose Fernandez, like that's a perfect example. The dude hit his first home run, stood in the box for maybe 3 seconds, not that long. It was his first home run. He's a pitcher. He's
also,
a kid.
He didn't even daddy hack. He granddaddy hacked on that
big
thing.
time. So he, 1, 2, 3, run. All right.
Yeah.
That's not that long, but they were pissed. And obviously it's Brian McCann. And McCann has a problem with fun. So I understand that. But that is definitely one that's changing. When you got to see Tim Anderson literally spear his bat into his home dugout after hitting a bomb, you were like, okay, we're having fun now. Like we're letting the kids play. And that's where MLB was like, hey, let the kids play. We're doing this. And then they were like, no, don't let the kids play. We're not doing this. We're going to backtrack a little bit.
It's a Sports Center highlight. Like,
yeah.
What NBA has the dunk.
Oh yeah.
Right. And that's where Jordan brought in that. And we need a home run, pimp that home run like crazy to give that Sports Center moment so that kids want to
want them to
that.
Want to play.
Yeah.
You want them to be like, baseball's cool. I want to play baseball. Like, you can pimp stuff like that. You can
baseball
be badass like that.
Needs to be appealing.
I want to see the next Max Muncy home run be a bat thrown 45 feet into the air and come down straight into the ground, just standing up. That's what I want the next one.
Snaps the bat in half, throws it so it spikes in.
I hate unwritten baseball rules more than anything in the world. As somebody who played baseball, on one hand, I understand them, but on the other hand, entirely, I also know that in terms of entertainment purposes, a lot of these are really stupid rules.
Yeah.
and they don't make any sense, and they were invented by a bunch of old white dudes a long time ago that are now dead and don't matter anymore.
Adrian Lux points that out. Yeah, old white dudes, but we also know it's the minority players who bring out the character of the game. I'm all for it. Make baseball exciting, because most of the kids growing up, their coaches are people who played baseball in their 10s and whatever. They played baseball in the 60s and 70s, and this is how they were taught to play the game. And you respect the game, son. This is how we played the game back in my day, 1992. Dickety was 90.
90, yeah. I'm the youngest one here, but I remember playing. I remember playing growing up, and I remember being told like certain things you do, certain things you don't do. If I had flipped my bat, at 16 years old, I think I would have been running laps like the entire after the game. Like I legitimately think my coach would have been like, "Hey, you're running laps. Like that's on you. You're a dick. Don't do that." Yeah. Now I look at it now, and I'm like, dude, I would love to go to a high school game and just watch a kid like hit a 400-foot bomb and just like fling his bat and just be like, I just did that.
To be fair, so my son plays basketball, and he has his moments, and I remember where he's crossed over somebody and stuff like that.
Breaking ankles?
Yeah, it's like, I'll be honest with you. I told him, don't show off. Don't show off. Well, even though I want him to.
They're showing up.
There's a
showing
balance.
Up.
Yeah.
But there's also celebrating. And players need to be able to celebrate. I think that's fair. Chris Canetta here in the stream says, Manfred thought these youths are destroying the game by hitting a home run, but cheating is okay and encouraged. Because that is a money quote right there. The fact, like, what the things they focus on here, but the fact that you had to think about that, because that's ingrained in your head that you need to tell your son that, because that's what you learned. That's what you were taught.
Well, I can see it in high school.
Resident old guy.
I can see in high school and junior high going overboard, because in the pros, when you can pimp your home run.
You're like standing over. You posterize a kid in basketball. You spit on him or something.
There's a balancing act that young kids don't know how to do.
I will say that there is something that bothers me in Major League Baseball right now, and it's you're down 9 runs and you hit a solo shot for 500 feet and you flip the bat and you're like, dude, I mean, look at the scoreboard. You're down 8 now. Like, you don't get to pimp that. Just run the bases and get it over with. Like,
you know when to celebrate and all that.
Right.
But at least have game that. As long as you're not showing up your opponent, if it's for you and not to make the opponent like look like a douchebag, then I think baseball should just let the kids play, as they say.
As much as I agree with you guys on pimping home runs, I love it. I really do in the pros. I just think with social media these days and kids in high school, if they're down 12 and they hit a grand slam, they're gonna pimp it hard because they know their girlfriend's holding their phone to do Instagram.
Whatever.
That's fair.
And that's the part. That's the part that's going to be.
Look, some
of
us peak in high school, Gary. I don't know what to tell you. We got to do that. Kate says, "Let pitchers celebrate strikeouts as much as hitters can celebrate home runs." And I'm 100% for that.
Yes.
I love when pitchers show emotions on the mound.
Oh yeah.
There's the Kentucky University kid or something or the Louisville kid that struck out the glasses.
Oh yeah.
And he's just yelling at the batter. And he's like, I think in the next inning he gave up the lead, which is just chef's kiss. But I love that. I love that kind of thing. I love competitiveness. I love rivalries. I love intense sports, and that's the way you create intense sports. I love the fact that Max Muncy didn't even really bat flip. And Madison Bumgarner was pissed. Yeah. The next couple games against the Giants were fantastic. The next couple games, seeing Madison Bumgarner, like, it elevates it.
Yeah,
even though he's on the Diamondbacks,
makes baseball fun again.
Even though he's on the Diamondbacks now, you see him and you're like, oh boy, I hope we get to face Madison Bumgarner, and I hope Max Muncy gets in the game, because this is going to be awesome. Because now we're not going to hit it in the ocean, we're going to hit it in the pool. We're going to tell him to go get it out of the pool. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Baseball needs that. I mean,
notably,
you look at the attendance, you look at things. Obviously, this year's different. There's 0 attendance. It's a little bit different. But you look over the past couple of years, and you're like, attendance has slowly kind of dropped off a little bit. You look at the numbers on TV. TV slowly dropped off a little bit. People want to watch football. People want to watch combat type of sports. People want to watch stuff like that. Baseball's a little boring to people now.
Yeah. Well, all the sports, what they've done well on social media is they've been able to compact it to those, like, on YouTube, you can watch a whole NBA game in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
If baseball can figure out how to do that and make it into a short, digestible content, like your slam dunks and your 3-point contest, I mean, people like Eric V just got to, like, step
Yeah.
up that creativity.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of those guys making it happen, though.
Yeah,
too.
he is.
You look
all those
around the league,
videos, he's making it awesome.
You look at around the league, and you look at some of these other teams, and you're like, yeah, you're really missing out on an opportunity to pull in your community, to pull in the kids in your community to be like, well, this is
you
cool,
can
this is fun.
you can see that big difference between the people running the MLB social media and then what MLB is telling the players.
Right.
Like, because MLB social media is all over that Tim Anderson shot and pimp job and all that, because it was great.
And the Dodgers social team, all over the things that they know people want to see, all over the things people want to know and hear. And then you have MLB
Sue,
like
Alex, Hunter, they all just destroy the game on Dodgers social media, and that's why you see they're the most favorited social media account to follow in baseball. That was, I think, a poll from last year. A whole bunch of people are all over it because they engage. They engage the most. The copy is on fire. So good job kissing more Dodgers ass, because we like them. They're good people. Anyway, Skeptic Cyclist on Periscope says get rid of is a little while ago, but get rid of the rules. They're unwritten. You can't do that if they're unwritten. How do you get rid of rules? I think the worst thing about it is I mean, obviously baseball is slowly phasing out of this. There's eventually going to be less and less of the old guard involved in the game.
I want Tim Anderson to head up the players union one day. That's my vote, personally. I mean, get Tony Clark out, put Tim Anderson in.
Your luck, it's going to be Josh Reddick.
Oh, boy.
Then he's going to get a whole lot more entries on that catch hands list. But the worst thing about that, we didn't really complete that thought of the unwritten rule, and why it blew up even more on Fernando Tatis for hitting this 3-0 grand slam, 3-0 pitch grand slam, was former Dodgers third base coach, also known as a notorious crybaby, play the game the right way, Chris Woodward, current manager for the Texas Rangers, cried about it. He had his pitcher come in and throw behind Manny Machado. Had nothing to do with the situation. He was also just their most expensive player and happened to be up next.
He was just there.
No, once again, nobody got suspended. Ejected, but players were suspended because baseball is ruining the game. In the post game, Woodward's like, oh yeah, I didn't really like that. I wouldn't have done something like that in terms of swinging 3-0. But the worst part of it is Fernando Tatis, one of the bright young stars, perhaps the brightest young star of this game, the most electric athlete in baseball right now, gets slammed. He gets thrown under the bus by his own GD manager, which is Spanish for goddamn manager. And that's just not cool. For him to say, like, he didn't miss a sign. He didn't look for the sign because he knew you dicks were going to put the sign up. And he made baseball fun by hitting a 3-0 grand slam, and he sparked
Slam Diego.
San Diego went on to set an MLB record and hit 4 straight grand slams in 4 consecutive games, or hit a
You
grand
don't
slam
have any
in 4.
Slam Diego without breaking the unwritten rules. If you want to have fun, you got to break some rules now and then, MLB. Come on.
But they're not even rules. They're unwritten.
First of all, Hingle McTingleberry breaking the, player protocol and not protecting your guy, first of all, is just beautiful. Number one, didn't say anything about them throwing behind Manny Machado, another one of his guys and the highest paid player on his team. But I'm just not gonna say anything about that. No reason to. Instead, I'm just gonna protect myself and say that I gave him the 3-0 take sign, and that is not what I wanted him to do. Wow, how brave of you. How brave,
Very brave.
I will say this about Doc. If that question had been posed to Doc, he'd be like, "No, I didn't give him a take sign. No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I thought he would maybe. I thought he'd maybe understand the rule, but I like what he did there. He put us up big and put us in a position to win, and we won the ball game. So thank you. I will say that about Doc. Hingle McTingleberry, on the other hand, is like, "Oh, I didn't do that."
Well, of course, Hingle McTingleberry, Jace Tingler, if you're nasty, was in the Texas Rangers system for the longest time. He made his way up as far as a coach in their with their major league team last year. This is his first major league managing job, and so I mean, he's got friends over there. He's going to care about them, but you don't work for them anymore. You don't get paid for them or by them anymore. You know what you do? Allegedly. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's true.
You get paid now to make your San Diego baseball club the best it can be. And thanks to the outpouring of support that came out afterwards. I mean, the fact that Tatis had to apologize after the fact was frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible that they made him do that. Seeing Eric Hosmer, like be happy and then realize, oh, they be mad. I tell him now he'd do bad. That's how I assume Hosmer sounds.
I mean, he's already ruining the Padres anyway, so Hosmer might as well just keep it up. Why not? He already stole a bunch of money from them, so might as well just ruin all their fun.
Along with Will Myers over there, but if you're gonna do that and then change the narrative, but it worked because of the outpouring of support from all around baseball. A lot of baseball people, a lot of baseball people tell me that
Tremendous.
they're 100%. They're all in on what's his name side, on Tatis's side, and it just works. It's so much more gooder that way. Anyway, finally.
Finale.
Stare at each other for a while.
To wrap up the show today, once again, the Dodgers. Let's see. They're through the first half of 2020, right?
Allegedly.
We're 30 games in. We're halfway through. There've already been so many huge moments. I could list them all off the top of my head, but I didn't write them down. But what was one thing that stood out for you in particular? Because there's 30 games. There's a lot of moments already. There's home runs. There's good pitching. There's huge defensive plays. There's so much you could talk about. But for you, is there one moment in particular where you're like, I want to talk about this?
Well, we'll keep it tight on this because obviously we're already running over. The cup runneth over.
My fault.
Old school. Let's go. I mean, these are fun.
Today.
People enjoy it.
And drinkers.
I've seen some of these podcasts. They go like 3 hours long, and they're bad. Like
we should have like a 3 hour power hour. 3 hour power hour.
Power hour. So we drink like every hour, every minute. Anyway,
the power.
3 bottles.
I think for me, I mean, there's been a lot of greatness so far. A lot of semi-iconic moments. You could look at like Will Smith breaking that cardboard cutoff's head, but that wasn't it. Like that just showed you that baseball was not right this year.
Right.
The closest I had felt, and we'll go back to San Diego here because, and Kim here in the chat nailed it, and we'll get there in a second. San Diego, they're good. And I've been saying this for the last couple of years. They're really close. Despite Chris Paddock's best efforts, they're a good baseball team. Because he's not very good. They're ace.
Allegedly.
But they're fun. And when we went to Slam Diego, before the Slam Diego days, there was really good energy from there. Like, the ballpark noise and the crowd noise and everything, like it gave you a real vibe. The Padres players were hella into it. They wanted to win, and you could feel that hunger to win. They treated it like a playoff game. That elevated the feelings for the fans because you're on the internet. You're seeing San Diego fans, and we know San Diego fans are loud on Twitter. So respect to that. Shout out Friar Phil.
Mad respect.
But, of course, the Dodgers are a far superior team, and afterwards they realize, oh, they're trying, I guess we'll try a little bit too, and then the throw. Chris Taylor, CT 93.3, unleashing that throw. It was like, it kind of saved Kenley's season because it's like, oh no, because Kenley would have gotten blown up real bad.
It's a big turning point.
It's a huge turning point because it would have been very bad had Kenley blown that save because it's like, crap, here we go. Even though he didn't get destroyed, he didn't get like overly hit, but still, for him to get weak contacted out of into a blown save,
right,
wouldn't look good, very good. Or even another walk off, a year after the big walk off with that guy who swung the baseball bat. It's very rude of him, not respecting the game. Swinging against Kenley, but that throw from Chris Taylor to nail Hedges. Who did he nail at home?
Grisham.
Trent Grisham, fast man. He's a very fast man, and Taylor is a very good baseball player, man, and he killed it.
Analysis.
It was fun. It made me feel
things
alive again. It made me feel like baseball is actually back.
That's the most baseball I've felt. I was like, baseball's real. It's happening.
I came back in. I was doing something at the house. I came in. I watched it. I was like, I'm going to sit and watch this inning. And then it happened. And I'm like, it's like, oh, I remember. This is my voice. My voice feels like when it hurts.
That's the only time I've yelled at the TV this
I was
year.
Like, ah!
I went, whoa! And I
It was
like,
and Thank you, Chris.
and
Thank
my
you for
dog was
baseball.
scared, and etc.
Did he get scared in Spanish?
Yeah, he said, "Oh." That's Spanish for "oh." If you don't know,
Very good Spanish
Thank
speaking
you.
dog.
I'm working.
What
on my
about you,
Graterol
Guy?
stuff.
What was your big moment?
Oh, my big moment. My big moment was this weekend for so many different reasons. I mean, you look at Cody Bellinger's walk-off home run, and there's probably 10 different levels to this home run that make it such a fantastic piece of footage.
You want to roll that beautiful bean footage while you talk about it?
I want to roll that beautiful bean footage while I talk about it because there's so many different little pieces of it that are just so fantastic. Number one, look, I mean, you're watching it. You don't know that the ball gets out. The guy goes up. He falls to the floor. He looks like he's dead. He's still dead. He's still dead. Cody shrugs. He's high as a kite. He's like, where's the ball? I'm not sure if it went out. You look at this Wii Sports dance footage that's happening here while something's being poured on him, strangely enough, in the middle of a pandemic, nonetheless. But, I mean, everything about it is just so golden. Cody looks up, he looks down, he looks up, he doesn't know where the ball is, he starts to run, he's looking for somebody. Like, hey, somebody tell me what happened. Did it go out? Hey, George, did it go out? Hey, umpire, Daniel, somebody, did it go out? Still doesn't really know, and no one gives him a sign, which is just fantastic. And then kind of rounding second base is like, all right, the ball went out, we're all good, I won the game, let's celebrate, except not really celebrate. And then Dave, after talking about it, saying like, social distancing, because you know those guys were running out there like, we won, and then like hearing Dave and then being like, oh yeah, this is not a normal year, we got to do something different. Number one, very proud of them for sticking to that, for not being the team that just mobs the dude and tears off his jersey and, you know, spits on him, pours water on him, whatever. They were responsible, and it was so funny because you're watching it in that moment and you're like, this is the weirdest thing, and I love it so much because we won. If we hadn't won, it might have pissed me off a little bit, but you're looking at it and you're like, this is hilarious. I love this. This is everything that's representative of the 2020 season for the Dodgers. I appreciate it. I'll take what I can get. Somebody earlier had said in the Twitter, Gary had asked, like, what's the most surprising thing about the first 30 games? And somebody said, the fact that we had them. And I was like, yeah, that's a really great point, and I'm super appreciative of that. And this little clip to me is the embodiment of me being thankful for what we get out of this season. We very well were facing no season this year. We were facing the chance of not having baseball. There was a couple conversations we had where we were like, I don't think there's going to be baseball this year. That's a real life possibility. This, for me, this moment with Cody is just like, we got what we got, and I'm super thankful that we have it, and it's a lot of fun to watch. So I love it. I love it so much.
Quickly, OA first. Good job with your almost John Boy-esque breakdown there.
Yeah, you know, I'm working on my John Boy. I just kind of want to break down tape as it happens because
and John Boy doesn't do it live like that. So
no, yeah, he's got time to think about it because he thinks he's good at stuff. But
Jimmy,
come get me, John.
At me. Gary, what about for you?
You guys named the two that I liked, but the 3 home runs by Mookie and just watching him lead this team. It's like Justin Turner in a different way, but he's leading by like real example and everything. So it's been really a pleasure to watch just them form into a real championship team.
You love Mookie, huh?
I love watching leadership.
Yeah,
I love it, you know, and I want to learn it. I want to see it. I want to see how that works, and that's why I just love what Mookie brings to the table because he's so humble about it.
Gotta have that Mookie mentality.
Yeah,
Mookie mentality.
Sportsnet LA ran a poll on their Twitter, and they asked, "What was your favorite moment of the first half?" Majority of people so far have voted. There's another day in this poll, but 44.8% so far have gone with sweeping in Houston, which is odd. Santiago, it's not Santiago. I've been saying Santiago. Santiago here in the stream, our friend, which by the way, you still need to give us the nice fancy gift 3D gift thing he gave us because you stole it from us.
I forgot to bring that. I brought the other thing. Sorry.
He's been waiting to see it on the set. That's why he tunes in every week.
He brought all this Jim Beam. Ooh.
And then I left the show, and he's like, it's never coming on. I'll bring it back.
But yeah, he brings it up, the Astro sweep. And the fact that all 3 of us didn't even think about that because there were more important things. And there were, as the kids say, more better things than that particular sweep in Houston, or even the Joe Kelly situation. Like
that was a good. I mean, yeah, that was a good. That was a good moment. I would say that was a good moment for baseball. Like just in
that
general.
was a great moment. It
was like a good moment for all the Major League Baseball players to come together and be like, "Yo, screw the Astros."
Yeah. I think we picked 3 good baseball moments.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of off the field, kind of.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, that the other stuff was kind of alleviating anger.
Yeah,
in a way,
which we also need. We also need.
Santiago says, "I also have something else for you guys," which sounds creepy if you say it like that, but no, cool. We appreciate. He says he has a video, so that's cool. We love everything.
Sweet.
I mean, Eric doesn't even make videos.
He's gonna kill us.
Yeah, send it to Gary's house. That's at garyshouse.com. Eric says, I need leadership. You need to make cool hype videos of us. So whatever.
Eric, I will be here for a spoof video if you need me for a spoof video. I'm very
when
good
this
at spoof
pandemic's
videos.
over, we need to create a seat for Eric. And just a dedicated camera.
Seat?
Yeah, just the Eric seat.
We want to be
part of the show.
Are we giving him Krajewski seat? We haven't seen Rick in a while. And
Dude,
Rick
I hope
used
he's fine.
No, he's good. He's
fine. I haven't talked to him
humping.
in a while. That's
Rick's
good.
doing some work.
Yeah,
Nice.
Rick's he's taking care of Joe and Oral's off air with Joe.
Oh, that's
and
right.
Oral. Yeah, so he's
a busy dude. He's a stat guy and a podcast guy now.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
a lot of computer time. So he's probably a fat boy now. Proud of you.
Me too.
Proud of you, Rick. Speaking of fat boys, I am Clint. That guy's.
It's a good transition. Yeah, that's really funny.
It would have worked if we were at that point of the show. But we appreciate you hanging out with us. We appreciate Mr. Gary Lee coming back, even though, it was me that welcomed him.
I think this is our longest podcast in like 2 years.
Because, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
No, I mean, it's good. Like it was
an off day
show. It was good to talk about.
Yeah.
It was good to fill some time. I'm sure you guys are sitting at home wondering why the hell you're watching a weird inter-squad, not even inter-squad game, a taxi squad game. Lakers coming out,
both of you guys make yourself sound dumb potentially on the podcast side, because this will come out tomorrow. What is the Lakers final?
Gary.
Lakers win 104-89.
Oh, they're going to play some defense today.
You bought enough time, Chief. May come up with some numbers.
Now I got to come up with something. I'm gonna say it comes down to the final shot of the game. I think it's a 111-109 game. I think it's going to be put into somebody's hands.
Am I going to take the over or the under?
It's going to be a Mamba Day.
I have it.
Just edit the person who didn't get it right out.
I'm going to take the under. That's my thing. So I'm taking Brooks. I'm going to say Brooke is closer.
Okay.
That's going to be the thing.
That's all you do.
That's my thing. I'm just going to be under. Some from under. But again, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Find us on the internet. We are DodgersNation.com. That is an internet website. So go there, check it out. Our thing, which is a podcast, just a thing you're watching, might even be listening to it. We are on iTunes, we are on Spotify, we're on iHeartRadio, Pandora, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Player FM, everywhere podcasts are available for free. Santiago says 108, 102. We have scores, we have stats. I gotta legally rush home and watch me some sports. But subscribe to our YouTube channel while you're at it. We are at youtube.com/DodgersNationTV. Continue subscribing. We really want to keep on our way to getting to 100,000 subscribers. Hopefully by the end of the year. That would be really great. So make a bunch of fake accounts. Have grandma subscribe. Have even grandpa if you're nasty. Do cool things. Girlfriend.
That's it, guys. I am at BrookMe3 on Twitter and Instagram. This guy over here is at RealFRG on Twitter and Instagram. That's Gary in the corner. He has a pool now. We are at Dodgers Nation on Twitter. We are at Officials Dodger Nation on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for Santiago for about to send us a video to us of whatever he made. We'll see you next week. Go Lakers.
Kobe!